Go ahead if you have anything to say to the European fans of the LCS broadcast, of course.
Of course. EU greater than NA.
And there we get killed again with no vision from absolutely nowhere, because Zoe is a balanced champion. Thank you, Riot Games. Thank you for this amazing champion.
Brain effect mood? Helps your serotonin levels and makes you feel more relaxed. Huh.
And we lose Baron because our jungler missed Smite, but you know what? That's okay. We all make mistakes. And yeah, next game will be better, I'm sure.
Hello everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, joined here by Phreak on day 2 of Rift Rivals.
Yeah.
We've had an interesting few games so far. Team Liquid went undefeated on Sonoteric. Is that indicative of the fact that NA is, after all, just as good as you?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. For things like Worlds and MSI, there's usually the week 2 meme for NA where they get worse. But at Rift Rivals, day 2 is when we improve. So, all uphill from here. The 2-on-2s are going to happen the whole time, at the end of today. So, very hopeful that NA will turn things around when it needs to happen. Clearly, these games are not indicative at all of the relative skill level of the regions. No, of course not. Still very close.
Still very close, and still a fun event overall. Have you been enjoying your time working with the EU crew as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a lot of fun when they come over. So hanging out with them, chatting. We've been playing a lot of Teamfight Tactics on like the downtime between like rehearsal and show start. But yeah, overall, it's always really nice hanging out with them. It's the first time having Ender over here in official capacity, which has been great. He's a lot of fun. We cast together. They're a fun cast as well. So yeah, overall, really happy.
Overall, very happy. What do you make of the Marvel Team Liquid Corporation and Jensen carrying the American Captain America shield of all players?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm sure there's all kinds of commentary. I've seen the Photoshop of putting Korean flag jerseys on Impact and Core JJ, etc. So, okay, yeah, the jokes are funny. Overall, right, it is an LCS team. They are living in America, full-time as LCS players. So, whatever, like, this is the reality of our region is yep, we import players. And then, that's just how our league works. That's what it is. So I don't know, whatever. Like it's not something I spend a lot of time thinking about or that like colors my opinion or anything. They are an NA team. I think the jerseys are cool. I think they're definitely really interesting. Yeah, basically.
Loving the Iron Man one. Definitely want one. Okay, so let's talk about TFT. Cool. What has been your kind of favorite go-to strategy so far?
So I've been doing most recently actually a lot of hard rerolling to get 3-star 1-drops. And then building around whatever I can build together and just sort of like over time figuring out what's good and what's bad. The most recent game I realized that I had Mordekaiser, Fiora, and I think it was Tristana as 3 stars, which have no synergy bonuses whatsoever. So that was
trash. It
was not good. I also got 0 attack damage items, so Tristana was 0 items the entire game. That wasn't an optimal strategy. Okay, we'll pass that one by. But I actually had a lot of fun doing 3-item Graves with Rapid Fire Cannon and Gunslinger bonus. He actually can attack like 7 squares and multi-shots everyone. So he's actually a really, really good second liner at that point, and carried me for a while. I think I got like second on a game with him, whatever. Ultimately, yeah, I've been like learning the game. I started ultimately playing when it hit live, so I'm, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 games in right now. Yeah, figuring things out. I'm trying to learn how to transition Yordles properly and transition Sorcerers properly. I have made a lot of bad choices in like picking units there, so like there's a lot of learning to do there. But figuring things out, it's fun kind of incrementally growing and figuring out like more and more sort of strategies of play and figuring out what things you go for based on what you're given. The more I play, the more I sort of realize you wait to see what the game gives you and then index off that, and that seems to be the first sort of big skill hurdle. Then you have to develop how to play those play styles. So you come in and 10 minutes in, you realize your strategy, and you've got to know how to play that strategy.
Pretty much exactly that. Is it a weird feeling to, always do League of Legends and, you're with Riot and you always do League of Legends, always League of Legends, always League of Legends. For the first time ever, there's like a new Riot game and that might even turn into its own esport. Have you like considered, hey, maybe that's, that's going to be the next area where I'll be looking at?
I mean, it's certainly a possibility. I don't know what the future holds for TFT. It's certainly a very popular game right now, and that's awesome, and I hope it remains popular. I'm having a lot of fun playing it, so that's cool. As for, like, me transitioning off of, like, League of Legends, the 5v5 MOBA, to Teamfight Tactics or something else, down the line, I don't know. Well, I mean, ultimately for me, like, I want to do things that I enjoy and cover games that I like playing and like watching and like talking about. That's certainly still League of Legends. So far, I'm also still enjoying Teamfight Tactics. So like, if for some reason there is like a TFT LCS and, I'm called upon to cast it, I'm sure I'd have a lot of fun doing it. As of right now, I'm very focused on League of Legends, and in a lot of my free time, I play TFT, and that's fun.
So, as someone who worked on the World's Season 1 broadcast even, and who has been with the scene for so long, is it a bit? I mean, like, for example, Shox obviously went into freelancing, and now she's also doing CS:GO. She's venturing into other areas. We see former players like Ocelot and Steve, and they now own teams, and they now also branch out into other games. You have always stuck with League of Legends. Is that like that same love still there from day one, or is it just an evolved marriage kind of thing for you?
I mean, certainly I think I'm a different person than I was almost 10 years ago when I first joined Riot, and even 6 years ago when I became a full-time shoutcaster. I very much love League of Legends. I really like being at Riot. I love the people at the company, the things that people are trying to do, and sort of a lot of the work ethic people have and everything else. So for me, I'm sort of very happy in what I'm doing, I mean, I guess that's kind of the best answer I can give, right? Is I like what I'm doing, still love League of Legends, still love Riot, so I'm really happy here.
It is interesting though to see a game being so consistently popular and like always being brought up, still being a huge esport, and it had its ups and downs, but it's on the rise again with both LEC and LCS doing fairly well. Do you think that it's just like the amazing genius of the game developers, or are there like more other indicators as well to that factor?
I think definitely the sort of, as you mentioned, sort of resurgence, like sort of the second wave of League of Legends. I mean, I personally agree as well that like it's on growth again. I think that is people figuring things out. Like, games as a service is a very new world. Right, like League was one of the very first ones. Okay, yes, World of Warcraft. Hey, like that was a decade beforehand. Don't get me wrong. It's not like we invented that or anything. But it's still a very new world, right? Especially in a free-to-play model where WoW is a subscription, still is, and I don't want to talk about them too much overall. But there's definitely a lot of learning, right? And I think there have been mistakes and missteps by developing or publishing or whatever within Riot, and myself as well as a shoutcaster. Like I've had my ups and downs and good choices and bad choices and whatnot. But yeah, I think. Sort of from what I've seen, like people get better and smarter, and they learn what does and doesn't work, and people aren't afraid to experiment and try things out. And if it doesn't work, like dynamic queue, which I personally enjoyed, but other people didn't, and that's fine. So okay, well, we'll change that next year, no problems. Getting things like Clash, and then okay, the servers aren't ready for it. We need to reshape what that is and whatnot. And so yeah, there's going to be learning experiences. Like there's a lot of uncharted territory in developing a game for 10, 11 years now. Sometimes you'll make mistakes. Sometimes you learn and you get better at it, and sort of people kind of take notice when it's like, oh, we're making an even better product now, and people are more interested in playing it and trying it out, or for the first time or coming back or whatever. So I think to me that's more of a sort of first party perspective where we get better, we make mistakes, we get better again.
Fair. And for the LCS part of everything, because you've obviously been there from the start as well, if I would have told you, or if I would have shown you, pictures of today's Rift Rivals event or LCS event to you, 6-7 years ago, would have you been surprised at how fast and amazing it's grown, or would it been up to your personal expectations? And what can we expect, like 5 years into the future? Do you already have any ideas what's going to happen then?
It's interesting because I've definitely answered the question on like, hey, how do you feel about the growth and rise of LoL esports? In the specific way you sort of worded it, where it's like, hey, here's 2014 League, now here's 2019 League. I think I would have started to see that it was going that way. I think by that point I would have been like, okay, yeah, the game is growing, we're getting more professional. And thankfully as well, like I grew up watching Korean StarCraft, for example. And so I had seen a lot of the precursors that maybe Western audiences hadn't seen, but I was like, okay, yeah, you can sell out big arenas or line up thousands of people on a beach to watch StarCraft or whatever. So yeah, exactly, right? So you know, depending on where, like, sort of where and when you ask the question, I was like, okay, yeah, I can see this growth happening in this way, and I can see where we are now. Not to say that there haven't still been some incredible, breathtaking achievements that LoL esports have done. I mean, you look at some of the most recent World Finals and the places they've gone to, the AR Dragon being an easy one to look at as well. There's been some really cool stuff that have been done that's just nothing but impressive that I could never predicted. That have been super awesome. But overall, yeah, I guess this seems like you know, it's been some really steady growth that I've sort of really enjoyed getting to be a part of and getting to witness and you know, talking over and being there in person for.
What do you see like 5 years down the line? Are you a huge fan of VR? Because I feel like VR combined with ProView and that kind of stuff could be, you know, the next step for esports broadcasting.
Yeah, personally, I mean, I'm not a VR dev in any way at all. So like, I have zero insider knowledge on how this stuff actually works or anything. But I have kind of felt that viewing experiences was actually going to be the big like mountain that VR would climb and stand out as a really cool experience for. Things like concerts was actually sort of the thing that was easily jumping out to me, where you can go watch your favorite band or whatever and feel like you're there in person, and you know, you teleport over to some other place to watch from, and maybe there's like a behind, you know, the stage or on stage sort of viewing experience, and you're like right up there watching, you know, your guitarist solo and stuff like that. So I think that can easily come in for esports as well. You know, having a more up close view. I actually super love how ProView kind of has that in a way as well, where you get the eyesight or the view line of what a pro player has. I think that's actually really cool as well. So yeah, that was kind of something that I thought was going to be sort of the big jump for VR at some point, was viewing experiences more so than specifically games. But I mean, we'll see what actually happens in that sphere. Overall, yeah, I mean, spectating's been really cool. ProView's been really fun. And I'm excited to see what the next 5 years does look like.
Okay, cool. Anything you would like to say to the LEC fans? Because that's obviously where my main fan base is right now. So go ahead if you have anything to say to the European fans of the LCS broadcast, of course.
Of course. EU greater than NA.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Phreak. And this was Darius from the Shotcaller. I hope you guys have a good day. And I'll see you guys for more content from Rift Rival. See you guys then. Bye-bye. We'd especially like to thank Krzysztof Bujnowicz, Thomas Göttel, Etienne, Erich Althaus, Lukas Legal, Lazy Raven, Lama Vyuta, and Adam Novosviat for your very special support, and of course also all the people whose names you see scrolling past you. Without you guys, we would have closed down probably a while ago. So thank you so much for your help. Thank you.